Okay, howdy y'all. We're gonna call the meeting to order. Oh, I get to hit the gavel again, that's fine. Okay, howdy y'all. We're gonna call the meeting to order. It is 5 o'clock and we are in the BPUB Administration Building. Time for public comments. Do we have any public comments? No public comments, okay. Well, then we will move on to item number 1, the presentation and discussion of the Brownsville Public Utility Board Employee Engagement Survey results. And Sergio? No. Claudia.
Thank you. Good afternoon. For the record, Claudia Lujan, Director of Human Resources, and I'll be presenting a high-level overview of our employee engagement survey. As you see here, the engagement survey fits into our strategic plan, specifically as it aligns with employee engagement and development, and the direction of BPUB will increase employee retention by enhancing engagement, focusing on financial wellness, and modernizing our HR practices. This was the first time we've done an engagement survey, and we utilized the services. We partnered with McLean & Company. They're a worldwide organization. They have over 30,000 members in their client base, and so they were instrumental in working with us on the development, the deployment, and the analysis of the survey. You'll see here that we had a strong response rate of 61%, but I think even more importantly is that 78.8% of our employees feel like they're engaged with the organization. So what does that mean? It's important because the engaged employees are those that will provide optimal performance in all of the studies that they provided us with, and that was one of the things that they were really honing in when speaking with us, is that our goal is to get everybody to that engaged level. So we're at a very good starting point here with what we were able to discern from the survey. The survey consisted of 14 categories. 9 of those categories we were either at or we exceeded the benchmark. So I think there's a lot to be recognized here from the workforce. They feel like we have a positive culture, coworker relationships, department leadership. You know, you can read them. They're all very strong.
Quick question.
Yes.
The benchmark is like an external benchmark?
Yes, it's from all of their clients, among those 30,000 clients.
Okay.
It's cumulative. Various industries. And like every organization, we have opportunities to improve, which you see here. And with that, I think what's specific to today's committee meeting is the total compensation on the bottom right-hand corner of this slide. We'll take that into a little more depth. Total compensation consisted of these questions. You see at the top there's a lot of pride in the fact that they feel very satisfied with our benefit package. A lot of work has gone into that, and I want to thank everybody in this room for making that possible. We do have some work in the following 3 areas where they're saying that I will be compensated fairly. You see that goes down to 46%. They feel satisfied with the total compensation, another 46%. And then my compensation is comparable to similar jobs in the industry. That was a unique qualifying factor that we included in this survey because we get a lot of feedback from employees that they are getting enticed to move on elsewhere. So we wanted to see where they believe that we were in that regard.
So I don't know if this question has ever come up, but I'm kind of wondering, I mean, we have a great compensation package or benefit package. Have we asked, and I don't know how one would do this, have we asked our employees if they would rather trade off some of those benefits for increased compensation?
I don't know that we have. Are you aware? No, we haven't, but I think that's a good question.
It seems like something that at least is worth the conversation. I would hate to suggest that we cut back things like retirement, but if, 100% of the employees say, hey, we'd rather take a hit there, it's at least a data point we should know about.
Noted. Thank you for that. Any other questions? No? So with that, again, we want to really continue to work forward on building and strengthening those 9 factors where we know we're at or above the benchmarks. Look closely at feedback loops from employees, increase opportunities for employees to provide us with their input. And also in the strategic plan, there is the VOICE program that we're going to be, we're working on developing and launching, truly getting to understand, getting the voice of the employee as much as possible in our initiatives as we're moving forward. Target our improvements and continue to map opportunities for career advancement. That's one of the key initiatives we're working on. Continue to develop leaders at all levels of the organization to help us with not only compensation for them to have opportunities to promote, but for succession planning. And then last but not least, we'll always need to be measuring, engaging our initiatives to see what's working and what's not working and adjust accordingly. So I don't know if there are any questions on that. Just
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, it's good that we're starting to do the surveys. I don't know what a best practice is, but given that we're being measured against a benchmark, which is valid, but obviously the change compared to ourselves is probably more noteworthy. So I'm curious, I'm not sure if we're going to wait another year or there's another like pulse survey or something.
Right. We actually will be doing it again next year. And so next year we will have the benchmark and how we are compared against ourselves from year to year. So that is the plan moving forward. And then we do have the option to do pulse surveys throughout the year. We had an intention of doing one now over the summer, but we thought it was maybe a little heavy on the survey. So just to space it out so we can hopefully get better participation, to also give us time to start putting some things in action so then they could, we could see some results from those initiatives too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would, we haven't discussed costs. We can look at that later, but I would say that it would be probably beneficial for a pulse survey to be done before the year, just to have kind of a reference.
Touch point.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And then can you talk a little bit about maybe the survey process? I mean,
Yes.
I think 61 is probably in the benchmark is pretty good. But yeah, I mean, obviously the higher the better, right? So.
Right. No, thank you for that. I meant to describe it earlier. So we thought one of the key factors was to hire a consultant so the employees would know it was 100% anonymous. There was no way for us to go back and track who said what, right? So it was developed, it was done electronically. They could take it at work or they can actually do it on their phone. It was only allowed for them to log in one time. They had a key identifier, so that there was not multiple surveys from one individual. But other than that, I don't know if I'm missing any key element of what the process was like.
How
for
many
the employees.
communications did you send out informing the staff of this process?
I don't remember exactly, but I know there were quite a few. Is Joe here or Sergio? Do you remember?
Well, we sent several internal communications. There were 4 that were done by the actual consultant that was running the.
You got to talk into the
Sorry,
microphone.
I'm Sergio Delgadillo, Division Manager for Administration. Answering that question, the survey included 4 communications by the consultant providing the survey that were directly from their IP, and then we did our own share of communications. We actually promoted a pizza party if we reached 80% of participation. So we were hoping that we'd get to eat pizza, but that didn't happen. But yes, we did a lot of promotion. We're very excited about this survey, and It ran around 14 days. They thought that was enough, and then we extended, I believe, for 7 days, if I'm not mistaken. So that was the total length of that process.
So if I could add on that pizza incentive, since we didn't reach the 80%, then Mr. Delgadillo here in his humor said, well, we should have an all-employee, this could have been a pizza party. So thinking along those lines, when we are actually going to be giving the results of the survey back to the workforce, I'm giving it out here, employees aren't aware, we're going to do an ice cream paleta, some type of a celebration to give the results out, and then meet with division directors individually.
You're welcome to join.
Yes.
I mean, I did hear ice cream, so.
Yes.
So definitely on the right track, and I'm excited that we have the first one under our belt, and yeah, in the end, as I think these surveys continue, what's important is that there's action taken
Exactly.
based on the feedback. Some of it, may be harder, compensation, benefits, but at least that there is information and ultimately action, right? So I think the board has always been open to that and supporting that. So
I appreciate it. Thank you.
In fact, I think to go just a step further, as you get these results and you compile them, if you could definitely share it with the board, I think that would be important. We would like the employees to know that we are, in fact, paying attention to their feedback. And so this is the one chance they have, or a chance, not the one chance, they have to directly air their thoughts about this organization to us.
Agreed. Thank you.
yeah.
Noted.
Okay.
Perfect.
Any other questions? Okay, I think we're good. And now on to item number 2, presentation and discussion of the employee compensation strategies and workforce stability. Claudia.
Thank you. Again, Claudia Lujan, Director of Human Resources, here to present on compensation workforce stability. As with the last presentation, this ties into our strategic plan specific to employee engagement and development, focusing on financial wellness and modernizing HR practices. I like to look at it as when you're looking at compensation, it's like two sides of the same coin. One side is on the strategic value and the other side is on the workforce positioning. So specifically looking at BPUB relies on a skilled and specialized workforce with compensation competitiveness, also taking into consideration internal equity, reliability, and employee confidence to be a long-term career growth organization for them. On the other side, we have our workforce positioning, where we're ensuring that our compensation strategy is sustainable, and that we're doing everything we can to retain the talent in a responsible manner for long-term operational stability of the organization. So the next few slides give you different snapshots of our workforce. As you see there on the left, at present, we have 605 positions filled in the organization and 57 vacancies. When we move over to the middle of the screen, you see there we have, in addition to the 605 positions, we have 7 limited term employees, 7 temporary employees, and 18 interns. Today, if you were not aware, today is National Intern Day, and we have several of our interns this year in the audience. If they could stand and be recognized, I'd like to.
I noticed young faces. And I didn't want to say anything, make assumptions, but yeah.
They were in a meeting this afternoon, and I said, you all, 5 o'clock, be here. So some of them were able to stick around, so thank you for joining us. And then if you look on the right side of the screen, you see the education of those positions that we have currently filled in the organization, everything from high school up to our Juris Doctorate positions in BPUP. So moving forward here, on the left side you see our salary, some salary ranges, and the number of hired positions, filled positions per these salary brackets. The red line tells you obviously the percentage of positions at each touch point on the graph. And then when you look at that, comparing it to the years of experience, the tenure of our employees, what stands out there is that at the 5-year mark, getting them past 5 years, we have a bit of a dip. When we look at our salary actual range penetration among the workforce, the red line is market. The numbers speak for themselves, the number of employees and the percentage of employees that are working their way up to market and past market. But when you also look over to the right side of the graph, you see that peach-colored box on the right side, the tenure of individuals that are below market within their pay grade.
Can you repeat that?
On the right side of the graph, where you see those peach-colored, okay, those are the years of service where we have employees at the 10 years and above, their tenure with the organization. And in that graph, in that colored portion, they are not at market. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
And you know, the disappointing thing about that is just the fact that that number is significant below the line, significantly higher than the numbers above the line.
Yes.
So, I mean,
It-
in many
it-
of these cases.
It represents just under 32% of the workforce. So moving on to our employee separation history, you see a 5-year look back. On the left side, the blue portion is our voluntary separations. If you look at 2026 year to date, we've had 54 voluntary separations and 10 involuntary. And on the right side, if you look at that same time frame of 2026 year to date, breaking that down, we've had 21 retirees and 33 resignations. What is important to realize here is that our retiree rate this year at present is higher than we've experienced in the last 3 years. It's a lot of knowledge that is leaving the organization.
Just a quick colors issue.
Yes, sir.
You know how I keep pointing out? Well, actually, this bar doesn't show up at all. The last bar doesn't show up at all on mine. I can see it on yours, so it's just a
You're
printer
running
issue.
out of ink on, no, I'm kidding.
I mean, must have been, but yeah, that's why colors matter. But anyways.
Colors matter, I gotcha. No, thank you for that. And then this just breaks down our separations, our voluntary separations by division. One thing that I would like to point out on this slide is if you look at the second line from the top, electrical operations division, move over, scan over to the right, 2026 year to date, you see 4. I want to bring recognition to this body because those 4 separations occurred prior to the implementation of the market study just a little while back this fiscal year. So that does suggest that we do have some stability there now.
Well, and the other,
Oops, I'm
other
sorry.
important number is the wastewater operations, and I know we'll be discussing that, but you can see that in the last 4 years, we lost over half our folks.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this just takes another look at the same data set, but it excludes our retirements. It doesn't,
Yeah. On the water, wastewater, does that include SRWA or just,
yes,
yes?
yes, it does. Which is a small portion, correct, of the entire operation, but yes. So at this point, I would like to invite Mr. Sergio Delgadillo, our division manager for HR, to walk you through the following slides that will talk about the initiatives that we've set in place and more to come.
Just for the record, Sergio Delgadillo, Division Manager for Administration with HR. Well, BPU has taken deliberate and strategic steps to strengthen organizational resiliency, improve operational efficiency, and enhance service delivery, and realize long-term cost savings by bringing critical services in-house that were historically performed by third parties. So we can see on the slide on the left, we have in-house legal counsel. This is the first and among the most significant initiatives that we established an in-house legal counsel. This was a calculated recruitment effort. BPU secures specialized talent needed to provide legal services internally, improving responsiveness while reducing reliancy on outside legal firms, and of course, realizing savings. The second initiative focuses on line work capacity, and it was also with the support of this board that we were able to accomplish this. And what we did is that we acknowledged that our city was growing and that we needed to build resiliency. We also had 2 contracts working, currently supplying that need for workforce, and we were authorized to hire 10 positions, so that is 2 crews, with the knowledge that it would take around 4 years for this crews to mature and realize savings. The good news is that that happened at the 18 months where we started to realize some savings. We were able to cancel one of those contracts, and still today are seeing some fruits from that. So that it's awesome news. And our last, it's a cross-connection expertise initiative. This just came to this board this year with 2 cross-connection positions that we requested. We realized that going through a third party was costing us $100 per each inspection, and doing it in-house was reducing that by sharply 23%. So we figured that was the way to go, and not only because we built that resiliency and capacity, but because we are able to improve customer service and control deliverables. So all good strategies there. And while this slide is focusing on internal capacity and shifting work from contract services to in-house, there's also other strategic investments that we've done in the workforce. For example, that engagement survey that we just revisited. There's also leadership development and succession planning that is happening today, which are very important strategic workforce investments. And then next, you're going to see another one that has to do with health care and benefits in my next presentation. There's more to it. That is the tuition assistant. It's another strategic investment, but I'll give it its own light because it has a lot of weight, and we're very happy with the results that we've seen and with the support that we got in with this board and, of course, our executive management team. On the left side, you can see that our program from the last 5 years, including this last fiscal year, had 14 applicants to the program, from which 11 happened this year after we approved this revision. So we brought these revisions and you approved these revisions to our policy. So that it's great growth. You can see that we have 2 employees who have graduated. And today I learned that we have another 2 employees who completed the program and they're waiting on their degree being conferred. So that's great news. On the right, you can see those that are currently active, that are going to school, minus the 2 that I just mentioned that graduated today. But at the end, we have 10 employees actively developing and improving themselves through education. Employees participating in this program must agree to repay any reimbursement if they separate from employment. There's a 24-month agreement. And that takes me to my next slide, which talks about reimbursements. Our program has grown, as you can see there. Reimbursement have grown as well, to the point that we are at 37,000 this year. So we are asking our board to approve a tuition assistant investment in our budget of $45,000 for the next fiscal year, 2027. I'm not sure if there's any questions. Move on.
Yeah, I'll wait.
Oh, no, sir. Ask the question.
You know what happens when we wait.
Okay, so I'll speak to retention, recruitment, and market competitiveness. Sorry. So there's one successful initiative that we implemented. Ms. Lujan, do me a huge favor of pinpointing to our turnover or separations graph when we saw line work. This was an effort that was well thought, well implemented. Extensive study. We looked into work conditions, actual pay, pay range, benefits, throughout this market study to understand really well the job. We met with stakeholders, that is, we met with the employees themselves, with their supervisors, with their managers. We developed a survey instrument. We disclosed it. We had intermediate meetings with them, and not only as a compensation strategy, but also serve as an engagement strategy that produced very good results. So very successful initiative, impacted around 16 employees, and we can say that we are at market with that group. Second initiative in yellow, has a box in yellow, it's underway, is the water and wastewater. So while we have highly engaged employees who love their job and make meaningful contributions to Brownsville, their work is not easy. I mean, this employees work in trenches, they are under our sun, they are working during the night, during the day, in the heat, both in clean and not so clean water. And at the same time, we also have the market pressures that are there. We have engaged employees who love their job, but we have the market pressures. And there's a significant demand for that type of work currently, those skilled resources, to the point that we are actually seeing other vendors stop by construction sites and recruiting our employees, offering 2 times their pay, stuff like that. So we are evaluating as part of this study the market to ensure that we're competitive. As a data point, we're trying to look also into private just to have a data point of what the pay is. We're looking into living wage just to make sure that we are competitive at least at that level, and hoping that we can return with a fair and competitive number for consideration to this board for that group. And last, that you see on red where it says attention and tracking, we do have other areas that we're monitoring for market competitiveness. What we've seen or identify some gaps. Some we've heard of directly. For example, you see that we have the energy control operations where they're also getting recruited directly through ERCOT. It's talent that is needed. We just recently heard about an offer around 50% higher than the current pay for one of the operators, same level, same job, just a different place. And we're also experiencing them being recruited by data centers, believe it or not, by them using 1 to 5 megawatts on those small sites. They're very interested in the talent of employees able to manage the bulk electric system, manage that type of operations. So we see also some competition within similar but not necessarily same markets. Same is for SCADA system controls. I mean, PLCs and human machine interface, it's a key component of both development of technology. So we're seeing the same. We've hired and we lost some employees within the first 3 months because of offers with GE or manufacturing or our competition locally. So information technology, cybersecurity, analytics, network system administrators, those are things that we are paying close attention and we believe that are coming next. At least have a good sense of what the true pay for those positions is and where we can stand. With that, shoot the questions.
Please, please.
Yeah. Sorry, I was writing them, so it took me a little bit longer. But yeah, just going back on I guess the first section, as far as the separations, I'm not sure if we have like exit interview practice.
Yes.
So-
We do have it, sir, and actually not only have it, but we improved it. As you were asking right now, if we had thought about another pulse survey or creating another survey. We've actually have developed 2 more surveys that we've implemented this year. One is we revamped our exit survey, rethought the whole process, redid it. It gave some sense of ease to respond, changed the way that we do it. We used to have a sit-down with employees most of the times. So now with the survey, it's different, and it's providing us more information, and beyond that, it's giving us analytics of the grouping of employees. So it's a better tool that we can use to take action. And we also implemented, believe it or not, a new hire survey. That means that at the 90th day of our employees, now we're hearing their recruitment experience, their first day experience, their first week experience, so that we can make sure that they're seeing that everything was here for them. And like you've heard all along, we work really hard on engagement.
Yeah, the other one, I guess it's probably fine, but I was just curious if on the separation, I guess the budgeted, that's the term, right? The budgeted includes the vacancies.
Yes, it
Yeah.
does. Yes, that is the total positions, including SRWA, that we have in the books. So-
And as far as, maybe we don't need to see it here, but I'm sure you guys have, kind of related to the exit interviews, is on the involuntary separations.
We do not do an exit interview
on those, yeah.
involuntary separations.
Yeah, I guess those are more issues, I guess, with, you know.
There tends to be an underlying issue for
Yeah.
each one of those separations, so.
Yeah, as far as education, I mean, it looks pretty good. You know, it looks like maybe there was unlock, right? The number grew a lot, and then it's kind of focused on the masters. So there's definitely some good progress there. Maybe next year or later, you can also include any trainings that we do. That I don't know how you would want to break that up. I mean, I know we have kind of standard trainings, but if there's additional trainings that are being done that are not captured through, educational reimbursements, is still kind of an indicator of how much we're investing in our team. So however you guys want to present that, I think that would be an interesting number.
Absolutely, sir.
Yeah.
Noted.
And I know as Joseph or Mr. Holman was highlighting, just on the income and benefits, I think it's, the benefits are pretty good, right? So I know the income may be a little, based on the numbers, it looks a lot lower, versus market. But I wonder if there's another way to look at kind of the complete picture, income and benefits. I don't know that there is, but if there is, maybe you guys can
There is,
also
sir. We have
look at that.
very good oversight of what those benefits look and what would they amount to. However, when you look into market, we do market against utilities and against cities, which have similar benefits to us, and the market does not include that range for either side of the house.
Okay.
So those numbers are without benefits, and when we were to do that, then we need to also add that to the market. So the numbers likely will pretty much stay the same.
Okay.
But we do have
Yeah,
a very comprehensive benefit, so it might be a little bit slightly higher, but not that much.
Yeah. Okay. And yeah, that's about it for now.
Thank you, sir, for your questions. Yes, ma'am?
If I might just add one more thing on the total compensation. One thing we do for employees at the end of the year, everybody gets their total compensation. It's broken down by their amount of leave, their benefits, their income, et cetera. Everything's calculated in there. We may want to consider having that rolled out more than once a year so that it's fresh in people's mind, and also the timing of it, because at the time that survey was completed, they may have forgotten some of that as well. So we can take that into consideration.
And I know, I think it was last year, we discussed other intangible benefits, including, maybe working with our partners like Gladys Porter Zoo. I don't know if you guys ever did that, had a discussion with them about, maybe we could horse trade and try to get our employees
Good point.
admission to the zoo. I don't know if you guys ever followed up with that or not.
Community partnerships of some sort?
Yeah.
Okay, good idea.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll think about that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Just to your question, we have added some of those benefits that are at no cost. For example, we just recently were able to have a benefit on the cellular service for our employees, where they can get a rate same as we are paying for our own phones with no cost to the utility. It's only a transfer of the rate that they have access to. So we're able to just leverage that end of December and fully implement it perhaps around 20 days ago. So it's freshly new, or maybe 30 days ago. So, and that was part of the benefits that we saw from a benefit survey, some of the ones that we presented to this committee that we were able to implement as well.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. And I guess we'll move on to the last action item. Actually, not action item, last item. Presentation and discussion of the Brownsville Public Utilities Board partially self-insured group health plan, calendar year 2027 outlook. And, okay, Sergio.
Thank you. Again, and just for the record, Sergio Delgadillo, Division Manager for Administration with Human Resources. Of course, benefits as well as compensation, which are part of each other, align perfectly well with employee engagement and development strategy under strategic challenge and strategic direction number 2, as you can see on that slide. But I'll jump directly to business. So our insurance plan follows the calendar year. It doesn't follow the fiscal year. It starts on January 1st, ends on the end of the year. We are a partially self-insured health plan. That means that up to a certain point, BPUB pays for all of the claims. And then after we met a threshold, which is $200,000, then an insurance covers any accidents. The idea is that through management of the claims, we can leverage some of the savings by not having to pay a premium to somebody else, who in turn would keep it if there's no expense. The board approved policy year 2026 through Blue Cross Blue Shield claim administration. We had an RFP year last year. We looked into all the different options, networks, cost savings that we could get and leverage, and that was a selected vendor. They had been our vendor before. This is the first year, 2026, of that 3-year contract that we celebrated then. Well, 1 year, up to 2 renewals for 1 year. And like I just said, as a result of an RFP, and we've been doing that with the support of Aligned Insurance Services. They have been providing great services, and they also have been very supportive throughout this process that I'm presenting on giving an actuarial review of the actual numbers that are being provided so that we can have the best forecast possible this early in the year. So the next slide, a little bit heavy, but it does show the story of our balance in our health and dental fund. So of course, this is made up out of employees' contributions and BPUB contributions, where we're contributing around 84% to that fund. You can see the story over the 5 years, how at the same time in the year, we're seeing our funds diminishing or lowering. That doesn't mean that we've not made an effort to increase our rates. For example, in 2022, we increased our rates by 4%. We had a very good year. We had, as you can see, a fund buildup. The forecast for 2023 was very positive, so we saw no need to increase. We stayed at 0. Then we saw a decrease in our fund. Following year, forecast was high. We acknowledged that it could have been some catch-up from the previous 2022 year. We need around a 14 to 15 increase. We decided to increase a 10% rates. However, when it came time to celebrate 2025 contracts, we noticed that that increase was at a 20%, 26% actually requirement. We increased our rates for 2025 by 20%. And we started realizing some savings from the OPEB fund. So that fund is yielding really well, so we were able to get some reimbursement so they could accomplish the 26%. And then for the current year, we increased 11.2%. This was, again, like I mentioned, an RP year, so it gave us a little more leeway on rethinking the way that we're doing our tiers and our rates. And while it was a compounded 11.2% increase, we actually increased anywhere from 8 to 19.5% the different tiers for our employees. 2027 year is forecasting a total cost of 14.9 million, so that is 2.9 million higher than the forecasted number for this year. And again, this year has not ended, but that is at this point in time what the foresight is on the expenditure. And that number is important because that's the claim and of course administration fees that we are needing to get to with the rates that we're going to be proposing. So, and I'll go to what that means. That means a 24% increase. What you see right now is a participation currently of our employees in our plan. That means that we have 350 employees that are only participating in employee-only coverage, and then 77 are employees who elected to coverage their spouses, and they're paying for an additional premium there. And then we have employees who are paying for a child or children. That is a tier that we introduced this year. And then family coverage with 163 employees. Now, what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be presenting a couple of scenarios that we'll explore. This is not work that is anywhere done. We're still working really hard on getting the best option to this board. But the idea is that we can inform you where we're at and what we're doing to realize some savings and some workforce strategies. So as I mentioned, the increase that we're looking at is 24.1% if we maintain status quo, if we don't do nothing, if we keep our same structure, same rates. That would be realizing between both employees and employer, meaning that employees would have to contribute $361,000 more, and then BPUB $2.5 million more to the health fund, so that we can make sure that we can manage our insurance and pay for our claims. What I'm bringing today is some of the alternatives we've seen. So our first, among many alternatives that we've seen viable, has to do with creating a new base plan and then two buy options, buy option 1 and then buy option 2. The base plan would increase the deductible 5 times. It would lower coinsurance by 10%, but in turn it would also allow access by supporting visits to the doctors and a specialist at 25 and 35. So there's a gain, but there's also a loss, right? And then from there, employees could choose to keep a similar coverage to what they have today by doing a buy-up option to number 1, or even closer to what we have today as a buy-up option to number 2. What this plan will look like is an increase. Again, the increase is the same, but an increase to VPUB of around 15%. And based on the usage, our consultant has looked into the possible buy-ups that we'll see, and they're thinking that that would be the structure that we'll see, with maybe a third of our employees moving into a buy-up option 1, and then a smaller amount of employees moving to a buy-up option 2. This, of course, these are still very draft numbers. This would mean, under this initial alternative A, that if all employees were choose to stay in option in the base plan and not do any buy-ups, and based on the tier of pay that we just saw, employees who are earning less than $16 would see an increase, depending on where they are, if they're paying for children or they're paying for family, of around 1 to 3.2%. And then employees that are making or earning less than $40 would see an increase in between 0.5 percentage point and 1.8% in just in their insurance cost. So then from here I'll move to another alternative. Well, this is not an alternative that we like to entertain. I am bringing it because there is the belief. Yes, sir.
You can skip this one, just
Okay.
because, yeah, we know you have some bad options that you looked at. And
Well, they're all
it's-
bad,
Yeah,
sir.
well, nothing's great, but yeah,
They're
I
all
mean,
bad.
like.
Yeah, so alternative Z, which I'm calling it, the last letter is maintain cost, not have any increases, but you can see what that would look like for our workforce.
Yeah.
So that actually is limiting access by a lot. So what we're doing right now is really continue to evaluate of options. At this point, we're assessing the options of looking into same vendor, other networks that are available, looking into disruption reports, looking into possible savings. What we want to make sure we accomplish is, of course, the best access with the less disruption at the best value that we can get. And with that, really, that would be the end of this presentation.
So I know, when we met a couple days ago to go over the agenda, we talked about making sure that we both educate the employees because they need to understand that they're driving the costs, like they're the reason that this costs, so much, that and healthcare expenses, and just change of habits, change of lifestyles can help, the whole organization kind of control the medical costs. And so making sure that we develop strategies for education, making sure we develop strategies to help them stay healthy is going to be extremely important.
Absolutely, sir. And just to echo that, we've not been dormant. Last year, we noticed a pattern. We saw the usage report. We saw where we needed to work on wellness. And we actually partnered with 4 companies that support preventive care. And one of them is focusing on education, basically what that's called Wonder Wealth. And they help you mitigate some hypertension issues, which is tied to other chronic conditions. And it's really about education. You go through modules. We won't see a claim unless employees go through the program. So they have the obligation to push a certain amount of modules so they can meet the first threshold and they can make a claim in their insurance cost. And those are scenarios that we believe are win-win scenarios where employees win and the company win. But definitely, like you said, it's long-term strategy where we're going to be and we realize some savings once this culture it's starting to be in. But it is not in the back of our heads, but in our front burner as something we need to do and continue to do and work harder on.
Right. And of course, it's not just to save money, but also improve quality of life for employees.
It's
So,
a win-win, sir. We all
Yep.
win.
Any other questions? Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And at this time, items on the agenda designated for closed meeting will be considered. If there is an approved motion to go into closed meeting, the listeners will be placed on hold until the board returns to open meeting. And the thing we're going to discuss is attorney consultation pursuant to Texas Code, Government Code 551.071 regarding BPUB's legal rights, duties, and obligations in the development and implementation of FY 2027 cost of living adjustment and policy. And I guess
Yeah, I'll move for closed session.
I'll second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, howdy y'all. It's 6:36 and we have emerged from closed session. We have taken no action on the item that we have listed. And so
Motion to adjourn?
I will second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.